Hey guys, and welcome back to the Geeks, the Multiverse podcast. I'm Brandon, and as always, I'm joined by Will.
Hi guys.
This episode will be our October 2025 recap, where we'll be talking about some of the news from the last month. So join us as we talk about the cancelled Star Wars Rise of Skywalker sequel, The Hunt for Ben Solo. This movie was pitched by Steven Soderbergh. There was also another Star Wars sequel pitched by David Fincher. And guess what? Disney and Lucasfilm just turned away both of them. So we're going to be talking a bit about that. Then Chris Mundy, the Lanterns showrunner, has given us some updates on the show and how it's going, and also some of the dynamic that we're going to be seeing from Hal and John. Then what's becoming a recurring segment somehow, I guess it's just the times we live in, Fuck AI. This is a sequel to last month's episode. Plenty more has come out about AI and all the shit that's going on in the movie industry, and I think it's worth talking about. Then we'll be jumping into some quickfire news, going from Stranger Things to Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and all sorts of other news, and finishing up this podcast with a Peacemaker Season 2 finale spoiler discussion, something I've been very eager to talk about for the last month. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Right, so, Star Wars. It's been a bit of a flux state as of the last few years. We've not seen a Star Wars movie since 2019, I want to say.
Wow. Yeah, it would have been, yeah. December 2019. Wow.
That was before the dark times as well. Just before the dark times.
Can we just count it as the dark times, considering which movie it was as well? We can keep it there.
Very true.
That was
I think it might
precursor.
have. I think it might have started.
It was a
the
warning.
Dark times.
It was a warning.
But it was not the last we were going to see of Star Wars, according to Adam Driver. He said that he was developing a new Star Wars movie called The Hunt for Ben Solo with Steven Soderbergh, who you might know from many incredible films, the Ocean's films, Aaron Brockovich, and heaps of other incredible stuff. A brilliant filmmaker. The script was said to be done, and it was one of, and I quote, one of the coolest fucking scripts I had ever been a part of. The film was to be set after The Rise of Skywalker, obviously, because spoilers for that 6-year-old movie. Ben Solo dies.
I was going to say, how are they making a film about him when he's dead?
Well, this was Lucasfilm's problem with it. So apparently they just didn't see how he would be alive. Apparently they loved the idea. Lucasfilm loved the idea, but Disney said no. They just didn't see how Ben Solo would be alive. Fair enough, right? But that being said, your last film opened up with the words, "Somehow Palpatine has returned."
That's true.
Like, pick a lane. Pick a fucking lane. Like, I don't know. I think it could have easily been done. I think it probably would have dived into the whole world between worlds thing that Star Wars has. They recently touched on that in Ahsoka, where I'm fairly certain she kind of died, but then also kind of came back.
Somehow.
I don't know. Somehow Ahsoka has returned. But yeah, so apparently Adam Driver says that he was always interested in doing another Star Wars. He'd been talking about doing another one since 2021. Kathleen Kennedy had reached out, and he said, with a great director and a great story, I'd be there in a second. Apparently they wanted to be very judicial about how they spent money, and they wanted to be economic, and do more, do less, do it for less, but mostly in the same spirit of what the movies were originally, sort of very handmade, character-driven style, with Empire Strikes Back being, in Adam's opinion, the standard of what those movies were. It does sound cool. Like, I don't need the film. I'm not like super sort of broken up about it, but it sounds pretty fucking cool. And Steven Soderbergh is an incredible director and filmmaker. And I don't know. I think what's funny is that, and we'll get onto the whole. I mean, not there's a lot to be said about David Fincher's pitch for a Rise of Skywalker sequel, but you got two incredible filmmakers there pitching you films in your franchise. That doesn't happen every day. And instead, you decide to make a Mandalorian and Groglet film, and and give and give Simon Kinberg a fucking trilogy of his own.
It's genius. It almost baffles me how genius they are. It's like they don't
I think
want
they're
money.
onto something.
Yeah.
I think they're on something. Maybe not onto something, but they're definitely on something.
I think they're just trying to tank the franchise so they don't have to make it anymore.
I mean, they already did that with Indiana Jones.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not like fucking super excited. I'm not as excited as I was like in the 2010s for Star Wars in now in the 2020s. But I am excited for what's to come in terms of what they're setting up with like Thrawn and Ezra and Ahsoka and whatever. But like, Star Wars is in a weird place where I don't think people are really enjoying it anymore, aside from like Andor, which they say is like the gold standard. I haven't seen it yet, but
Well, they seem to be MCUing it, and they're trying to have everything connected, and all the shows are connected, and apart from Andor, obviously, but they tie in together, and they're building up to something big event thing. That's just like not what Star Wars is.
Star Wars used to be a special event. And I
Yeah,
think that was obviously because there was so much less of it, and that's
yeah.
that's
They've
that's fair enough.
they've sort of overdone it now. They've
I
basically
think
watered
so.
it down as well.
Yeah, there's just so much to keep up with, and so much feels important. Like let's be honest, right? When they do this Thrawn movie, it's all very well and good, and I'm sure the film could be incredible. But when you think about like the fact that like you're gonna see Ahsoka, and you're gonna see Ezra, and you're gonna see Sabine and Hera and fucking Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis and whatever. I don't know. This is just speculation,
Babu
but like
Frick.
fucking Babu Frick in there. But like these are all characters that like people don't know, but they're not new characters, so therefore they're not being introduced in this movie. It's like people. I think they were kind of expecting, same with Marvel, people to just kind of know, and people don't necessarily. I think Star Wars is a slightly different thing because it is a bit more of like a, I don't know, like it's a tighter fandom. It's not roped into the wider superhero flick fandom, but it's just like they're building towards something, and I don't think people are gonna be clued up on what the fuck's going on by the time we
Yeah,
get there.
it is the exact same as Marvel. They're sort of alienating like the common moviegoers because they want people
Yes.
to know all these intricate like this TV show from 10 years ago that came out. You got to know all the characters for it because we're making a movie about it. And if you don't know that, then there's you're going to be lost watching this film.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is a shame. But I mean, it is what it is. It's unfortunately, I think they're just going to keep going and keep churning it out, and we'll see. I think the true judge as to whether Star Wars is cooked or not is when we get back into the cinemas, because it's so hard to judge streaming because they don't release numbers unless it's doing well,
Yeah.
and even then they can slightly fudge the numbers. And
Yeah, they're the
are
ones
people
releasing
actually
them
watching,
themselves.
or are they like fucking putting on an episode and then going for a shower? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
It's to be fair though, it's not as if Star Wars was doing like brilliant at the cinemas anyway, because it's like, well, okay, it was doing well, but like they still released like Solo, and I don't remember a lot of people watching that one. I don't
Yeah,
remember how Rogue One did, but I don't think that did fantastic because obviously the little like side story ones, um,
yeah,
that was the first step towards overdoing it. But now, obviously, with Disney Plus and they're making all this stuff all the time, it's getting a bit too much, and I have stopped watching it all because I, like a good person, stopped enjoying it. Okay, I'm not a good person because I stopped enjoying it. I'm not a good person because I stopped enjoying it.
As a good person, not like you, Brandon. You fucking grab.
You sludge enjoyer.
You dog.
Slop eating. Yeah. No, I didn't watch it. I stopped watching it because, as a good person should, if I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to sit there and like force myself through it to get angry at it and tweet about it. Why is Star Wars so bad?
Yeah.
I just stopped watching it.
Hate watching shit.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
I just stopped.
Let me ask you this question though: would you watch a Steven Soderbergh film like Star Wars?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not going out of my way to see it, but
Fair.
like maybe.
Would you watch a David Fincher Star Wars film?
Probably. If it was like, it depends. If it's like, if it's just the Rise of Skywalker 2 Boogaloo, like, I'm not really interested. They've sort of like killed anything like interests I had after that. Like what could have come after those films, because they're just so like awful, like narratively awful.
Well, I think this is perhaps, it's interesting though, because like I think that's perhaps, I mean, I think this is kind of the way David Fincher likes to make his films anyway. But I think that's perhaps what he was worried about with it being under Disney and Lucasfilm, is that they might butcher it. So the reason negotiations ultimately fell through with his film was A, due to budget, and B, due to him wanting the final cut, and they wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. Not necessarily telling, but quite interesting. Yeah, I think that's it's a sign of the times. But moving on swiftly to Lanterns, heaps of quotes, and I'm going to try my best to not make this this segment of the podcast just me reading what Chris Mundy says, because it's quite a lot.
This is the part when we pull out a book and read a whole extract from the book.
Welcome to Geeks of the Multiverse story time. Get your hot chocolates and sit by the fire while I read you the smooth tales of Chris Mundy. So Chris Mundy, for those who don't know, is the showrunner of Lanterns, coming at some point next year. We're now hearing it might have been pushed back till after Supergirl, which in itself is crazy that we're going to have a whole year without like, well, and I say a whole year, I mean we've just had Peacemaker, but like more or less a whole year without DC releasing anything.
I mean, we only just know that it's after Supergirl. I mean, it could come out like next October, so it would be a year then. It doesn't.
It could be.
It doesn't mean like it's coming out a week after Supergirl.
Yeah, this is very true. But then, I'd rather they take their time on it and have it look as good as it can.
That's true. If they want, well, it doesn't sound like there's going to be a lot of like need for CGI, because it's from everything we know, it's quite a Earth detective sort of story rather than Green Lanterns flying around with magic rings. But
well, I mean, you say that. I think we're still gonna.
I do think there's still gonna be
how
stuff.
much we're gonna get, but we're definitely gonna have. I mean, the rumors are hinting towards like Atrocitus being in it, so there's gonna be some CGI characters in there, some aliens, and obviously their constructs, which we'll get onto in just a second.
See, I want to ask this first. Do you think Chip will be in it? That's his name, right? The Chipmunk guy. Is it Chipmunk?
The Chipmunk. Yeah. I do not. Sadly.
No, I was thinking, because it's like it's obviously a more mature show, and I think having the squirrel Chipmunk guy show up.
What I will say though is James Gunn chose Guy Gardner, right? So he clearly loves the more whimsical of the Lanterns. Now I'm willing to bet my fucking life savings, of which I have minus pounds, that James Gunn is going to introduce Nort. Do you remember Nort from Batman the Brave and the Bold? He's also in the JLI.
I think I know who you mean. He's a weird looking guy.
He's that weird little dog
It's
man.
the dog bloke, yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to put my fucking house on the line for that.
What about the round guy? I've forgotten his name.
Which one? There's a lot. Like the one who's just like,
He's like a bull.
oh yeah, the Red Lantern one.
Yeah.
There is a Green Lantern one. I'm pretty sure of his species as well. But fuck, I'm willing to bet James is gonna, if he has any sort of hold over Green Lanterns in the future, we're gonna see some weird shit. But anyway, on to what Chris Mundy has to say. He says, and this is going to be all over the place, but I'm going to try my best. Our show is in a lot of ways about replacements. When should someone step aside, and when is it time for the next person to take the reins? That push and pull between those two characters is really important. So much of that power that John has is by not taking the bait, understanding that you lose your power if you're yelling and screaming. That's why we're trying to convey. That's what we're trying to convey. He knows he belongs, so he doesn't overcompensate. There's a real balance that's just innately inside of Aaron. He's big, he's an intimidating presence just physically, but there's a softness to him too. There's a thoughtfulness. You can't teach that. So I guess we'll just kind of go like quote by quote and just kind of like do a little discussion on it. That first bit is interesting about replacements and stepping aside and someone else taking the reins. Obviously, we know we're getting a far older Hal Jordan in this. A 60. Well, we don't know that Hal is 60. We just know that Kyle is 60, who is playing Hal.
Yeah,
So they
I
could
think
go
he'll be in
slightly
his
younger.
50s. Yeah, I don't think he'll be
I
that
think
old.
so.
Because he doesn't really look that old. Like,
No, I mean, they've made him look a little bit older in Lanterns, just from that one photo we've seen. Like, he looks a bit older than or a bit gruffer and scruffier at least than Kyle typically looks.
yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't look like he's fucking 60. He looks great for his age.
I mean, to be honest, I think that from 6-year-olds look different now than they did, like, than though I remember they used to look like when I was a kid. Like when someone says
Yeah.
60, I used to think that they're like really, really old. But like looking at like a 60-year-old now, they just don't look that old, really.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. You're absolutely right. Yeah, people don't age the same these days. It's funny. I saw like a thing on Instagram where it was like, this is a photo of your great granddad, and it's like some dude with a mustache and like
Yeah.
a top hat, and he's like really, really smart looking and whatever.
Tally
Just your
ho.
average looking bloke. Yeah, very like, oh hello.
Hello. Would you like some
but like-
crumpets?
But then like our great grandchildren, they'll be like, oh, here's a photo of your great grandfather.
Playing
It's just
Fortnite.
some guy like flexing in the mirror with his fucking pecs out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, look at me in my fucking six pack, and I'm in my beer.
Yeah.
Like, people are the times are changing.
Getting nostalgic for 60-year-olds.
But yeah, that notion of like replacement, like I think people are getting so am I, getting worried about the notion of Hal being just introduced and then getting immediately replaced, and how does that replacement come to a conclusion? Does he step aside? Does he retire? Does he semi-retire? Like, or does he die?
I ain't got the
And
heart to
that's-
tell him. The good thing is, at least they can like cast a younger actor and they can do more stuff with him in the past. But I don't see why they'd even start with this story. It feels like something.
Yeah.
It feels like something that you have like a lot of previous stuff towards, so you get attached to the character. Because this is going to be, since the Green Lantern movie, and apart from like the animated series and some of the cheap animated like Tomorrowverse style movies, this is going to be the first time that a lot of people will have seen Hal Jordan, and he's getting either fridged or retiring after it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that. He could come back, I guess. Which is still
100%.
I'm not sold on the idea of like old Hal Jordan, because I think he looks really fucking cool, but it's just an odd point to start at, and I've been saying this for like since we heard about it the first time. It's just a really, really weird first Green Lantern movie, or not movie, like TV show, in a decade. You make like Earthbound Green Lantern with 60-year-old actor as Hal.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely an odd approach because like when you look to like, I think people are kind of assuming that they're going to do sort of perhaps a riff on Emerald Twilight and do the whole parallax thing. I don't know if that's going to happen necessarily, but it could just be, if Hal dies, it could just be purely a sacrificial thing with Black Hand or Atrocitus or whatever. But I think when you look at like, just say they are doing a loose Emerald Twilight, when you look at that, you had decades prior to that of this character. So at the time, it was quite a shock to people because it was like, oh fuck, Hal Jordan did what, and then what? So then, and then obviously, more time passes, and then you do the Jeff Johns run, and you retcon it into the parallax stuff and whatever. But it was like it felt like a journey that the character had been on. So it'd be really interesting. And I know they said, and we'll get onto this in one of the quotes later, I'm not quite sure which one it is, where Chris Mundy talks about how the show takes place back and forth from different time periods. And we know this because they've cast a younger, like a kid Hal Jordan. We know that they've cast like a kid Jon Stewart, and the same with their parents. They've cast younger people. So we're going to be seeing these characters throughout different time periods, but it's interesting to drop us into, oh, this is Hal Jordan, and then you kill him. And I think it doesn't mean he can't come back. Like, he came back in main comics continuity, and they did the whole, I would love to see them, if they kill him, do the whole Spectre, Hal Jordan Spectre thing. But I just find it a really interesting starting point, like you say. Like, it's for a lot of people's first, or perhaps a push second, due to that god awful movie introduction to Hal Jordan. It's just a weird starting point. I don't hate it because I haven't seen it yet, and like you say, he looks cool as fuck. And Kyle, from what I've seen of him, could really pull off a great Hal Jordan. I'm really glad they didn't go with Josh Brolin because I didn't see him as a Hal at all. But Kyle Chandler, he looks like he'd be a fantastic Hal Jordan. I just hope that I just hope that this isn't the only thing we see of him in the DCU, because I love the character so much, and I know a lot of people do. So it'd be a shame if this was it.
Yeah, I do think as well. It's important to note that, or at least I think it is, that looking at it like this and be like, oh, why aren't they doing it this way? It's absolutely sort of like a perspective, like a privilege from the comics, because obviously we know all of this other stuff. Like, if this was a movie with no, let's say it's the first ever Green Lantern thing ever, and they introduce Al and he dies, but obviously if there's no comics, and they've just made a movie called Green Lantern or whatever, and he dies, and people wouldn't bat an eyelid at it. Like, there's lots of movies,
very true.
just normal regular movies where they have a character and they die in that film, but it's only because we know of all of this other stuff that's happened in the comics that we're like, oh, why are they doing that? Like,
that's a really good point, actually. Yeah, that's a very, very good point. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy the character while they're around, and it doesn't mean they can't service the story, and it doesn't mean their death can't service the story. So
it's just that we know what they're like in the comics and all this other stuff that they've done. But if it's any other film, like they introduce a character and they die at the end, it's like, okay, cool.
That's true. Yeah, we're and in a way, like you say, that's a privilege, because we still have, as the comic fans among the viewers of this show, we still have the comics. We still have thousands of comic books to rely back on after watching this show to experience Hal Jordan at any point in his career. So yeah, we shouldn't whinge too much. It's a very good point.
For the next part, do you want to just do like we've got loads of quotes. Just do the whole thing at once. Like
All right.
we've got loads. Yeah, just we should have summarized this really.
I was being lazy.
Just go. Okay. Okay. Plan. Go through it and just interject if you have a point.
Okay, strap in, people. So Chris Mundy on heaps of stuff, but primarily on Hal and John's dynamic in the show. He said we wanted it to be as much of a buddy cop show as a superhero show. Carl's character has a kind of throwback Chuck Yeager vibe to him. He's the kind of guy who you meet and you don't know whether you like him or you want to punch him. Then there's Aaron, who has a quiet authority about him. And I think it's important to their dynamic, to the story that we're telling. And literally from day one, Kyle started giving Aaron shit for being young and inexperienced. And then Aaron started giving Kyle shit for being an old man. So you'd see between takes too, they'd start messing with each other and would keep sitting there and playing that dynamic in the best way. And because all the dialogue is supposed to be in a very back and forth style, they were already into that rhythm before we even got into the scenes. And then on casting Aaron as John, he says, it's a tricky role because there's a physicality to believing that someone is a superhero. And then there's a physicality to the character of John Stewart. He was a Marine sniper, which requires a certain kind of focus and diligence. After the Marines, he becomes an architect. So there's an artistic side to him. Those are a lot of elements that an actor has got to be able to project, and Aaron is someone who understands that physicality as a trained theatre actor. We talked a lot about how being in the Marines is John's job, but it's not his entire personality. He's as much of an artist as he is a Marine. There's a real balance of the physical and the artistic that's just innately inside of Aaron. And I think it's essential if we're doing our jobs as writers, we're not stating all of this stuff out loud. We're just trusting that our actors can fulfill that role. The audience has to believe that the guy could take a guy down with one punch, and also believe that he could sketch intricate portraits of his family and birds and all these beautiful things. Everybody did various degrees of comic book homework on their own, and we're here to answer any questions, but we aren't telling one specific chapter, which is, I think, some important to what you were just saying, Will, that already existed in the comics. Our characters are true to the comics, but we're putting them in a new story. So the actors didn't have to dig into a specific period in the comic books. It was more just about understanding who John is and understanding who Hal is. One thing that we attacked from the beginning was that the Green Lantern's powers, a lot of it is based in creativity. To manifest things from the lantern rings, you've got to manifest something from your brain, but also kind of from your soul. What does that look like? How does it feel? I imagine it's not much different from being a sculptor or a painter. And Aaron had to be able to sell that John could have the ability. And that's what he did. He understood that John would appreciate those aspects of their powers. We always joked that Hal just wants to hit everything with a big green fist. And then wrapping up that, he says, our story takes place in a couple of different time periods. And so the challenge was for the characters to be consistent at their core. John's sort of a different person in one of them than he is in another. And I do think the physicality and magnetism that Aaron brings to the role brought that all together. That theatre training, we wanted to be able, that wanting to be the minutiae of the work and the craft, and it really added to John's character from all sides. It added dimension and to the more physical side of the role and the more emotional, creative part of the role. So, a lot to be taken from that. A lot of reading, of course, but a lot of important stuff in there to dissect. Something I love to hear is them talking about Hal. They don't really talk about Hal that much when they're talking about this show. It's very clear that you know
they're trying to get John out there.
John Stewart. Yeah. That's the focus of this story that they're trying to tell, and he's probably going to be the main Lantern going forward in the DCU. But I love when they talk about Hal and their dynamic, and that's really important, I think. sort of seeing this Lantern legend Hal Jordan come in, and then there's like this new guy, and he's like, seriously, this fucking guy? Are you really? And I can imagine if they include the Guardians, it'd be nice to see him sort of challenge them on that and be like, I'm fucking Hal Jordan, man. I don't have sidekicks. Like, who's this guy? And then John snapping back, being like, I'm no sidekick. Like, it'd just be nice to see that kind of that dynamic come to fruition. Also, they talk about the constructs. So it's good to know that they're gonna be a focus in the show, and that they're gonna get the time and attention that they need. Obviously, with John being an architect and a Marine, he's got some incredible constructs in the comics. So yeah, hopefully they can take their time on the visuals of it and make sure that it looks as cool as possible.
I really like the bit when he was saying about like the fists, because isn't John an architect in the comics?
Yes, John's an architect. Yeah,
yeah. I like that he has like that they're doing that. He's more creative, and Hal just wants to like make big fists for his rings. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Hal makes a jet at some point, then I'm good. I'm good. I'll sleep happy. Also, the quote at the end with him talking about the story taking place over different time periods. Obviously, like you just mentioned, with John being an architect and a Marine, and Aaron having to embody the different sides of John. I can imagine we're going to see him in the war, because I think that's a very important side to him. But we could also see, perhaps those moments of him, doing other stuff and being an architect and being a human, really, which is really nice. I like that we're going to get a lot of humanity from these characters, so they're not just one-dimensional, because that would be genuinely gutting, especially after the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah. Oh my god, I watched that movie like last year. That was ghoulish.
I refuse to watch it again.
It's awful.
I really do. But actually, on Hal and the different time periods, it could be interesting to see perhaps how before he became slightly gruffer and jaded. Perhaps they've gone overboard with making him look slightly older for the most part in the show, because then that'd be easier to strip it back and make him look younger for, maybe seeing him in his prime with, Carol Ferris and all this, that, and the rest. It could be interesting to, to see him in Coast City. Do you think we'll get that, perhaps?
Maybe.
I can only hope. I mean, my real hopes for Green Lantern is that we get a video game. Yeah. And it's like set in the past. We get Kyle Chandler back to do like the facial capture and the voice for Hal, and it's like him in his prime. That would be my dream DCU project, outside of obviously Nightwing, of course, but yeah. Anything more to say on Lanterns?
I think, well, it's not direct related to what we've really said today, but it's what we've been saying for a while now. I think we might have said it in one of the last podcasts, where it's like, this is well, for me at least, this is the most important DCU project, this and Supergirl, just because it's not made by James Gunn.
Yeah, because or at least next year as a whole.
Yeah, this is like the litmus test now for the DCU.
Yes, yeah. Can this work? Does this universe work? Can it sell? And so far it has. It's sold pretty well. The viewership has been great. People have been more or less enjoying. But still, it's only been the James Gunn flavor so far, even though he says that there's like different tones for Superman versus Peacemaker versus Creature Commandos. It's still his writing. So next year we've got, at the very least, we know we've got Supergirl, Lanterns, and Clayface. 3, each from each other, very different projects. And most importantly in that, like you say, not James Gunn made. So yeah, next year is going to be a very important year for DC. which is why I can see them taking their time with these projects to make sure they get it right. So,
yeah.
That brings us to Buck AI 2, Electric Boogaloo. Robin Williams' daughter, Zelda Williams, has made a statement asking people to stop sending her, this is absurd, sending her AI videos of her father. Wow. She says, stop believing I want to see it or that I'll understand. I don't and I won't. If you're trying to troll me, I've seen way worse. I'll restrict and move on, but please, if you've got any decency, just stop doing this to him and to me, to everyone even. Full stop. It's dumb, it's a waste of time and energy, and believe me, it's not what he'd want. To watch the legacies of people condensed down to this vaguely looks like and sounds like them, so that's enough. So just so other people can chum out horrible TikToks slop, puppeteering them is maddening. You're not making art, you're making disgusting, over-processed hot dogs out of lives of human beings, out of history and art and music, and then shoving them down someone else's throat, hoping they'll give you a little thumbs up and a like. Gross. Very well said, Zelda. Very well said. I mean, this is
nasty, bro.
It's disgusting behavior. It's grim. Especially like when like it's just like people making it on their fucking PCs. Like it's not even like it's already ghoulish enough when like a movie studio will reach out to the family and the family okays it and they pour millions of dollars into it in a very high-tech system. But when it's just someone like fucking puppeteering a photo of Robin Williams and making it move with Grok, and it's like, what are you doing, man? Get a fucking life.
Yeah, it's an illness at this point.
It is. It's fucking disgusting. It's really, it's gross, and it's like she says, it's not what he'd want. You know, if you're a fan of Robin Williams and that's why you're doing it, that's your first mistake. And it's also really fucking horrible to send it to his daughter. Like, not even just put it out on the internet, like sending it to her. Like, oh, look, have you seen this? Have you seen this thing of your dead dad that you miss that fucking killed himself? Like, just... oh, fucking hell. Oh, God, that was my echo. Oh, no.
It's
I'm sorry.
It's alive.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot. This isn't like a super lengthy topic, but what the fuck? Awful. Just awful. But to something that's a slightly more related to the movie industry, Jason Blum of Blumhouse Pictures, he says that Hollywood, he's a big producer, for those of you who don't know, he makes a lot of horror films. He says that Hollywood needs to embrace AI. Apparently, it's here to stay. It's very important to use it ethically and legally, and for studios and guilds to protect the copyright of the artists. Okay, that much we can agree on. But if we in Hollywood stick our heads in the sand and don't use it at all, we're going to cede content creation to other. We're going to cede content creation to other people. The consumer does not. This is the crazy part to me. The consumer does not care if what they're looking at is AI. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get a word of that. Will, you just disappeared. Your voice disappeared.
Well, that's all right. I was doing like a foghorn kind of thing. You know.
Oh, okay.
That's horrendous, man. Considering the amount of like slop, awful horror films he makes a year or produces a year, I don't expect anything less from this guy, to be honest.
No, I mean, the thing is, we were talking about this before we started recording, but like these movies, they do really well, and like some of them have like brilliant creatives behind them, like and whatever, but yeah, he churns them out, and no wonder he wants to start embracing AI. If this like he's churning out this amount of movies a year, like yeah, at some point he's just going to say, well, imagine the amount we could churn out if we used AI and we could make a movie in 6 weeks in our fucking basements. It's like, no, man. Like, the audience absolutely does care what they're looking at. And they absolutely do care if it's a fucking AI generated human being or weird fucking like AI dragon with like 7 wings and like 1 toe. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's awful.
And these are the people that are producing the films of tomorrow. Fantastic.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, like
I was
Five Nights
thinking
at
about it the other
Freddy's
day.
2, awful Boogaloo 2.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, they're just going to stop hiring people and like...
Grok, make Freddy.
Yeah, that's what it will be one day. I fucking guarantee it. Unless we put the kibosh on it now, that's exactly what's going to happen. But I was thinking about it the other day. I was like our parents grew up in a time where new technology was like exciting and like, wow, look at fucking, oh my god, this and that. Oh, what they're able to do with computers.
Yeah.
We're growing up in a time where it's like we've got like fucking who knows how long left of our lives, like another fucking 80 years or whatever if we're lucky. And like the technology evolving in our time is just going to be scary.
Yeah,
And
it's the stuff they came up with in movies like 30 years ago, and it was like the world turns to shit.
yeah, I know this is like not a new thing to say, but have we learned nothing from movies? Like, there's a reason these stories are told. They're not just pure fiction. They're fucking cautionary tales. Don't do this is what it is. Your fucking world will be fucked up if you do this. But yeah, that's unless you've got anything more to say on that, that's all I've got for fuck AI 2 Electric Boogaloo. I'll see you next month for fuck AI 3.
The rise
I
of
need a
Grok.
wee. I don't know.
Somehow Grok returned.
Somehow Grok. Yeah. Unless my fucking Echo grows legs and arms and chokes me out before then.
Yeah, I'm watching mine now. You don't move. Not what all I have to say is just when the AI people show up, that's game over.
Yeah, and if you haven't listened to last month's podcast and you want to hear us talk about that, even if you just want to skip to that segment, we got time codes. I think it's worth a listen because we go pretty in depth into the whole Tilly Norwood situation.
Yuck.
It's fucking terrifying. But let me whip out the guns.
Huh?
And let me get ready, not only for the AI uprising, but for quickfire news. Bang, 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 bang,
Hit me again. How do you keep doing this every time?
Never miss, man. Never miss. So, starting off with some sad news. I put the guns away for this one. Drew Struzan has sadly passed away at the age of 78. He was the legendary artist that worked on posters for the original 6 Star Wars films, Back to the Future and Indiana Jones. Literally, I kid you not, in my little fucking corner that I record in
the cupboards,
of my room, of which I have no desk. It's on like the smallest drawer in this little corner above me. I have 3 posters, and I kid you not, it's Back to the Future, original Star Wars, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. So safe to say that like the man's work is very important to the movie industry and to a lot of people. You know, he's obviously done. It's not the only 3 franchises that he's done posters for. He's done for The Thing and many more other posters. But yeah, I think especially in a day and age where posters, especially for a lot of big franchise films, are just slop and like floating heads.
Yeah, and not to go back to AI, but I'm sure that's coming soon.
Yeah, me too. Actually, yeah. It's really sad. I mean, obviously he wasn't. I don't know when the last time he worked on a movie poster was, but he wasn't doing them obviously at 78. But yeah, just really sad. Just really sad that a legend in the art industry, a legend in the creative arts is passed away. But obviously, rest assured, his work will live on in the homes of many, many people and in the hearts of many people, I would say.
And unfortunately, one day in the Grok subservers, when they completely steal everything he made and regurgitate it into awfulness.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Topic number 2 of Quickfire News, a slightly lighter note, but still absurd. All episodes of the final season of Stranger Things will be over 1 hour, ranging between 90 to 120 minutes each. Bear in mind that's an hour and a half to 2 hours long per episode. And budget per episode is looking to be 50 to 60 million.
Each.
Bear in mind there's 8 episodes.
Oh, whoa. How are you putting this much money into Stranger Things?
That's a high budget movie, my friend.
And that's 8 high budget movies.
Actually, that's not a high budget movie. That's like 4 high budget movies.
4, yeah.
That's
Double,
obscene. Yeah. That's crazy to me. Like, I know, and I don't get me wrong, I'm very well aware of like the effects that and you know all that is required of Stranger Things. I'm very well aware of how much all these kids are probably charging now to be in this
Hey, you say
series.
kids, they're like 25.
They've got a mortgage and on their 3rd divorce. All of them. They were married to each other.
They're still playing 15-year-olds on their TV.
Yeah. And I'm also very well aware that like 120 minutes, 90 to 120 minutes per episode, and there's 8 episodes, that is 8 movies in terms of length and shooting length and whatever. I'm aware of that. But like, fuck me. 60 million per episode, and that's just what they're telling us. That's not even marketing. Like, that's...
Yeah,
what the fuck?
That's like the base cost. That is crazy. Absolute batshit crazy.
I mean, fucking hell. I mean, I know it's a very lucrative series and franchise and whatever, but like, goddamn. But yeah. Onto a topic that covers television on a far cheaper budget. Brad Winderbaum, the head of Marvel TV, has commented on that last year he did a complete rewatch of all 7 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Someone asked him, "You're a S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, right?" He said, "Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, I did a rewatch last year, all 7 seasons, and that show really holds up." Now, for me, that is very exciting as a big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan and someone who is gutted by the treatment that they've received in their later seasons, being completely shunned from that of MCU canon, even though it's all still canon. And don't let anyone tell you any different.
It's still real to me, damn it.
I mean, it is, to be fair. Like they those first like 5 or 6 seasons, their show bounces directly off whatever the MCU was doing. Like the whole Hydra reveal in Winter Soldier, that was huge. The fucking helicarriers appearing in in Age of Ultron, that was set up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like all of this, like they were very interconnected. So if somehow they can make a comeback, even in the slightest acknowledgement, I for one would be very happy. He also confirms that the Daredevil Born Again team is, first of all, the writers' room has just begun for season 3, and they're taking a very different direction from what season 1 and 2 have done. But also, they're communicating with the Spider-Man Brand New Day crew. Apparently, they're communicating with them a lot, with the team, to make sure that there is coherence there, and they don't want to spoil anything, but it very much exists in the same world and is important. I don't, for even a second, think that this means Spider-Man shows up in Daredevil, because legally, as much as it breaks my heart, he can't. But that being said, we could potentially get a cheeky little Daredevil appearance, even very minute, in that of Spider-Man, because we already know that Punisher's going to be there. So why not? Not to mention Jessica Jones is making her return in Daredevil Season 2, or Daredevil Born Again Season 2, should I say. And when asked if we might see a new Jessica Jones series, he said, maybe sooner than you think, with Kristen Ritter adding on top of this that there's a lot of stuff that I felt there was room to explore, and Brad and I talked about it, and I'm not going to say any of it because we're going to do it. So it looks like Marvel Netflix and the old way of Marvel TV is making a pretty strong return. Thoughts, feelings, loves, hates.
Cool. Interesting.
Good, yeah, I forget I'm talking to someone who's tapped out of the MCU about 3 years ago.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, 3 years ago, yeah. Fucking hell.
That was a great off the whim, sort of on a whim guess from me.
It would have been,
yeah. Yeah, wow. Crazy. Do you think you'll ever tap back into the street side of things?
No. I don't think I'll tap back into any of it, even if there's like 10 Avengers films coming out.
What about Spider-Man? You gonna see that?
Yeah. Because I like Spider-Man in a vacuum.
Yeah, that's fair. Avengers films? I think I've asked you this before.
It depends. Maybe not like the first day, like I would have maybe before.
Fair enough. That's so fair. But I, for one, as someone who's keeping up with the MCU, I'm very excited. This is like a corner of the MCU that perhaps excites me the most. And I only wish that, there weren't any legal trouble and we could have a fully interconnected street level Devil's Reign adaptation. But I don't think we're going to get that, and I'm just hoping for the best. Right, on to DC stuff to finish up Quickfire news. David Elliston plans to keep James Gunn and Peter Safran as the heads of DC Studios if the Paramount Warner Bros. Merger goes through. Phew. Thank God. Thank God for that. Netflix is also looking to buy them again, though, which is scary. Netflix has hired the same investment bank that advised Skydance when they bought Paramount. So, yeah, it still looks like Warner Brothers is up for sale. My God, what a fall from grace that that company's had in like the last 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, they used to be like a cornerstone of movies, and now it's like Netflix.
Yeah, what the fuck? Netflix owning Warner Brothers, which was merged with Discovery.
Oh, we're never getting HBO Max now, are we? If Netflix buys it, it's never happening.
Oh man, it might mean that we get like Lanterns on Netflix, though.
That sounds horrendous.
Yeah, just the sound of it, like to go from a HBO Prestige to a Netflix series.
Put me down. Put me down. I don't want to see it.
120 minutes an episode. $60 million, Will. 60 million.
Jeez, put me down.
We're going to have Nort, and he's going to be real. We're going to build a Nort. We're going to genetically engineer an alien. And gonna manufacture a green ring. Real, Will. We're going to make it real for 120 million fucking minutes an episode. What do you think?
Put me down. I can't do it.
9 seasons, Will. 9 seasons. Until they cancel it. Leave it on a cliffhanger.
Let's not do that.
Speaking of cancelled, well, maybe not. We'll see. Colin Farrell finally opens up on the Sergeant Rock movie that Luca Guadagnino was going to make and direct for DC Studios. He says that, God, that was a fantastic script. I wonder what's happening with it. I was going to do it with Luca Guadagnino, and we spoke a couple of times, but I have no idea where it is now. It should be made. So, first of all, that's confirming his casting, which is cool. And again, further proves that, Reeves-verse actors can still appear in other DC projects as other characters. Colin more so than probably anybody else because he's totally unrecognizable as the Penguin. Also confirms that it was a very good script, which makes me wonder why it didn't get made when you have an incredible filmmaker like Luca attached to it, when you have an incredible actor like Colin attached to play the lead role, and apparently the script was fantastic. So yeah, it does lead me to wonder why this didn't get the green light. It could be a logistics thing, it could be a timing thing. I think there was like a mention back when it was cancelled or soft cancelled or shelved or whatever you want to call it, that there was like a scheduling thing that they wanted to do like exterior shooting on location somewhere for X amount of months and it wouldn't have worked out. Or it could be simply because it doesn't, I don't know, maybe it doesn't fall in line with what James wants to do, or maybe Luca didn't want to include like GI Robot or something, and I don't know. I really don't know. But I hope they can get Luca back, and I hope that Colin's still game to play Sergeant Rock. It's an amazing casting.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen Sergeant Rock in my life. In anything.
Well, you see him in Creature Commandos.
Yeah, but he doesn't really do, you know. I can't base that off anything. Like, I can't use that to base it off.
No, that's very true. I mean, to be fair, I mean, like, at the end of the day, you know, when all said and done, at the very least, you would have gotten a pretty solid war movie that would have gotten some butts in seats. Get your dads out in packs to come and watch it.
Yeah. Again, I just at this point they just need to start off with their main characters and not make Sergeant Rock movie. Yeah, that's my thoughts anyway. Not like they should make this film at any point, but like you can't build the DCU off a Sergeant Rock film and like Clayface.
No, but when you look at like the creatives behind it, I think as long as they're good stories,
yeah, I think
they're good films.
I think,
and also low budgets as well is important for these lesser known.
But I think they need to get the the big ones out the way first, because that's more of the the gauge of interest and what's going to keep it going, not Sergeant Rock. And
I mean, you say that, but like I think people are tired of a lot of the heavy hitters and the big, more comic book films. I think this is exactly the kind of thing that needs to be made to show people that comic book films aren't all of the same. That comic book films, like a comic book film, isn't a genre. You know what I mean? Like you can have different genres within that section of movie making, and I think making a Clayface by Mike Flanagan and making a Luca Guadagnino Sergeant Rock film, you know, just a war film and a body horror film and a whatever, that's going to show people and perhaps, you know, turn some heads on the superhero shtick and might turn people around on it. Maybe.
I mean, maybe, but again, like I just think that they need to start off with like Wonder Woman. Like they it wasn't even in their thoughts really. Like there was that Paradise Lost TV show that they were talking about. We've had nothing about that show in years.
Well, hopefully that Wonder Woman script is coming along.
Yeah, that's all we've got. The fact that like one of the main three characters just wasn't on their radar at all. There was no Wonder Woman movie or TV show or any apart from Paradise Lost. There was nothing, and she wasn't even in that.
I think it perhaps was on their minds, but they were maybe looking for the right creatives and the right people to write it.
Well, they hadn't. Well, they say that, and like he said that he wouldn't like start making stuff without getting writers and stuff. But again, we haven't heard a single thing that Paradise Lost has even got a writer. It was just something that they said. They just said it.
Well, I think this is the problem with pitches, and it's perhaps why James is so hesitant to do another big slate reveal, because I think they needed to do that initial pitch, but so much has evolved and changed since then that
it doesn't. It doesn't seem that well like planned out to me. Like for the DCU, he's like, yeah, we have this, this story and what we're gonna go towards, but then he's making like a Clayface film, or like Sergeant Rock. Now, obviously, I don't want everything to build in and everything has to be connected and whatnot. Like, no, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like the only two, Peacemaker and Superman, have sort of pushed that direction. But again, I think that they needed the bigger characters to show up already than the small characters who don't have that much interest. And like, while they might be good films, I think they can still happen down the line. I think that they need to get the people in the seats and make their money first before they start trying to be too fancy schmancy. Because otherwise, these films aren't gonna ever happen because they're gonna have no money to make them with.
Yeah, but then when you look at like these films, these lesser known films, your Clayface, the budget is so low, and then you look at how much money these, like, even we were talking about earlier, like Blumhouse, how much money these films pull in compared to their budget as well. Like, this is how you make money. You don't necessarily have to spend the most money to make the most money, or you know.
You don't have to make it like a $500 million Wonder Woman film, though. Like,
oh no, absolutely not. But a Wonder Woman film will require a touch more budget than an old school body horror Clayface or a classic war flick Sergeant Rock film, I guess. But I think only time will tell when it comes to the DCU and how it shapes up. And from what David Krumholtz is saying about Supergirl, it stays very faithful to the graphic novel. He says that Supergirl is very true to the graphic novel it's based on, and he's thrilled to be sort of the next piece of storytelling of Krypton and further clarifying what the House of L is all about. Very interesting, very, very interesting, considering the direction that James took with Jor-El and Lara in the new Superman film. Because, as we know, there was a slight change from the source material, making them send Kal-El to Earth with the mission of restoring Krypton through pulling bitches. But that's awful. But yeah, I think their message was get laid, man. No, sorry, I'm losing my mind. But yeah, there was definitely a departure from the comics, and it'd be interesting to see perhaps what the other members of the House of L are like, and what values they uphold, and what Kryptonians in general are like. Because I have a feeling that they're not all going to be like this version of Jor-El. And I even have a feeling that this isn't like all Jor-El was about. Like, he wasn't just about like warmongering or like, whatever. I think he was just concerned about the future of his people and whatever. And it'd be nice to see perhaps a little bit more of Bradley Cooper's Jor-El at some point, and getting a little bit more clarification on that message. And we'll see. Only time will tell. But from what we've heard recently, Superman is currently shooting, or David Corenswet is currently shooting some
real Superman.
2 weeks. They've got Superman.
They've caught and compromised Superman.
He was like, "Look, I'm busy. I've got people to save," and they're like, "We don't care. We're shooting a movie." And David Corenswet's hair hasn't fully grown back to how Superman's length is, and we can't be bothered to make a wig. So you're gonna have to, for the next 2 weeks.
Hair.
Oh God!
Grok, give this man a mustache.
It's the mustache cut all over again.
It's the haircut.
Oh God! It was the fucking haircut. That's what did it. But yeah, so Superman's gonna be shooting for 2 weeks for the Supergirl movie. Apparently, anyway, we don't know that to be true. But recently, the costume that was on display at like some Warner Brothers thing was yoinked. It was disappeared because they and there was a sign that said current costume missing for current production shooting or whatever. And we're like, well, what's shooting? Nothing. But apparently they're doing a couple of weeks on Supergirl. So I was expecting to see Superman in this film anyway, so it doesn't come to a massive shock. But yeah, very cool. Don't have a lot to say about it. You?
No, cool. Makes sense. I thought he'd be in it anyway.
Lovely jubbly. And also they could be using it for stuff to like, to like make new costumes and improve the costume technology for that of Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which we know is in pre-production, so who knows. But yeah, I think that comes brings us to the end of Quickfire News. So now that we've lost our minds at the end and we're reaching the end of this episode of the podcast, now seems like the perfect time to review Peacemaker Season 2 and its finale. So we were quite unfortunate last month, really. We were like, we were recording last month's podcast like a week away from the finale of Peacemaker. So we've had a long time to sit on this. And perhaps it's not as relevant anymore, but Will, I know you've got a lot. I mean, we both got a lot of strong feelings towards this finale and the way that the season went, and quite opposing views in a lot of ways as well. But why don't you kick this off with your thoughts on the finale and the season as a whole?
Okay, so you remember when you saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2 back in the day? And you said to me that you didn't like it that much because you felt that it was too much like James Gunn.
Yeah, I said it was. I think what I said was like James Gunn. Well, I didn't say it was too much James Gunn, but I said it was James took what he loved and what people loved from the first film, and he just went ×2.
You know what?
And it felt too much.
That's how I feel about this season of Peacemaker, or at least like the final episodes. Because there's so many music like things. Like I like his music like choices and well, most of them. I'm not gonna say about some of the ones he used in the finale, but he went a bit over the top with the music, like scenes and the montages and slow motion and whatever. I think that compared to the first, like the finale of the first season, he completely got the balance wrong. Because you can say that this is character driven or whatever, but so was the first season, and that had a finale that had like really good action scenes, really good like character development, really good closure for that season, and also like really good music without being too intrusive to the episode and taking a lot of time and being annoying. And he didn't need a band to show up twice and have like two scenes with a band playing for absolutely no reason. Could have just got away with the first one, and it could have been absolutely fine. I didn't need 10 minutes of like music and just not a lot happening.
It was quite heavy on the needle drops, I will say.
Yeah. And with the band showing up again, it's just it's just James Gunn being just like he's getting his own interests in the way of making a good episode.
Yeah, I think it was a good episode. I think that's where we differ on that.
I'd like to say though, I don't think it's a bad episode. I think it's a bad finale. It's a bad season finale. It is like well written. I'm not gonna not say that, but well, for the most part, some of the characters are a bit but I think that it is a good like episode if it came out like 2 episodes before the point that it did, because I think that in a season finale you need that climax of like you need it to be like chaotic, and I think that he just completely went against it because he wanted to like write the characters of his friends. It's like he was saying like all these moments made him cry, but I didn't get that same reaction because it's him seeing his like friends crying, and that probably makes him upset. But some of them, like, I'm not a big hardcore fan, so and I know the internet didn't have the same reaction as well to it, where it was like he was saying like this is like the best scene in the like he's ever written or whatever, and it was just because it was his wife crying, like the acting, his wife was crying, and I'm sure that did make him upset and emotional because I'm sure that's something that he doesn't want to see. But to me, it was like, okay, it's a nice scene, but I think you're overreacting. And I think a lot of what he was saying was really getting people's expectations up. And he just shouldn't have been doing that. Because, like, the first season finale was so, like, chaotic that, like I said, they had great action scenes, they had great moments, and they had a great, it was just really good episode that balanced all of that really well. It balanced balance the action scenes where people like saying like, "Oh, you just want a glopshito cameo action slop episode." Like, no, the first season had a really really good finale, and it had such a great balance between that. And I really liked the way they sort of tried to do it this season, where they had the episode 7 was sort of like it was sort of two finales where one sort of wrapped up one plot and the other did that like wrapped up the second plot. So the first season it was his dad, that sort of story, all got wrapped up in episode 7, and the bugs, not the the bugs, the alien guy. What are they called?
This is two
Butterflies.
podcasts in a row now. You've called them bugs.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep calling them bugs. I'm playing Helldivers, and they're called. There's bugs on Helldivers. So now when I think of alien bugs, that butterflies, they're bugs, butterflies. I think of that, and yeah. So the second episode 8 in the first season wrapped that up. They tried to do it this way, where the first episode, or episode 7, wrapped up the Earth X side plot, which, well, not side plot, but story. And episode 8 did the whole Argus stuff. But I'll be honest, I kind of wish they did it the other way around, because I don't know how they do that, obviously. They'd have to restructure the whole show, because obviously they're coming from that Earth back to the main one. But I wish that they did more stuff with episodes, like episodes with the other Earth, because it's something that it was very like surface level in the end. They didn't do much with it. They didn't explore much of it. They just said it's a bad, Nazi Earth. And obviously, you don't really need to be told why it's a bad, why Nazi Earth is bad. But they got there, and then they got it's a Nazi Earth, and then they left half an hour later.
See, I don't necessarily think it was surface level. I think that the exploration of that, I think what you're trying to say obviously is the exploration of that universe was surface level. Like we didn't see, the universe or what it was like for the people of that world. We didn't see what other heroes maybe were like, or what, or these camps, or the fucking the freedom fighters or anything like this. Like that's fair enough. I think what perhaps James was a little bit more concerned with doing, though, and what wasn't surface level, was more so the exploration of this world for Peacemaker, and what it was like for Chris to be in this world where, he's a hero and his brother's alive and his dad loves him and he was with Harcourt and whatever. And that, I think, was done really, really well. It wasn't your conventional multiverse superhero exploration. And I think had you have even done the slightest bit of, I think you perhaps could have done something with the freedom fighters a little bit more.
Yeah, they show up and they don't get they get mentioned once, and then they nothing happens with them. I think
I think you definitely could have done something with that, but I wouldn't have wanted much more exploration of this world, because I mean, you had to kind of keep the in quotes secret.
Well, I think
that it was Earth X.
They
but
could
also
have done that in the 7th episode, which was like half an hour long. I think it was really good, but I think it could have been a lot better as well already than it was. Than if they did keep give that episode another 15 minutes, and you get to see more of like the differences between the two worlds and how they have to struggle to get back to the thing. Because really, if you think about it, that episode, the what's his name? The Cheeto guy. I've forgotten his name. Judo Master. Yeah. He's just been like living in this guy's house or something for the last like couple of days.
Yeah.
They don't really show much out of this Earth, even after the reveal that it's like the big bad Earth. We don't see much of it, and that really annoyed me, because I thought that it would have been really cool to delve in and explore that. And we get a half an hour episode, and then they're back to the more boring story of the season, which was the Argus stuff.
I would love to see a spin-off show or animated series or whatever, or even fucking comic book or something that dives into Earth X, and you see a bit more of Captain Triumph, Chris's brother and him, being out for vengeance and sort of being Chris's arch nemesis from across the multiverse. And you can see the freedom fighters and perhaps some other heroes of this universe and whatever and whatever. I think that would be kind of cool. Wouldn't have necessarily been necessary had they have explored it in this show. But then again, I'm like I said, I'm kind of glad they didn't, and they kept a lot of restraint when it comes to exploring the multiverse in this show. I'm really, really glad of it, because it could have just very easily have turned into your average multiversal cameo fest.
I mean, yeah,
slop.
That's true, but I also think that they could have done further with it and not done that.
Yeah, I agree. But I like that it kept it personal, though.
Yeah, just because they're restraining it doesn't mean, for me, that it makes it automatically good. Just because they're holding themselves back. Because I think that they could do it a different way and it could be better.
Fair enough. What I will say in reference to something you said quite a while ago is that the finale wasn't a bad episode. You said it was a bad season finale. Fucking hell, fireworks.
This time,
I know. I will offer up something in return that perhaps might.
I think I know what you're gonna say. I think I know what you're gonna say.
Okay. So, in my opinion, and this comes to a wider problem when it comes to TV shows these days, especially that of your higher budget franchise variety, is that this episode wasn't a bad season finale. Because James Gunn says that there's not necessarily going to be a season 3, and if there is, it's not going to just going to continue on from where this leaves off. It wasn't a bad season finale; it was a bad series finale. Because the problem is that these days TV shows, especially like I said, of the high budget franchised variety, they aren't just TV shows for themselves. They're not just self-contained stories. They are a part of a wider ongoing universe. They are, and even if they aren't part of your Marvel, DC, Star Wars, they still have fucking spin-offs and whatever's. I mean, you just have to look at The Boys and Gen V and whatever, and fucking all sorts of shows these days have a million different spin-offs. They're always trying to interconnect and set up a thing for the other thing, and where will you see this character next? And so that, for me, it wasn't that it was a bad season finale. If we were getting a season 3 coming next year or the year after that picked up where this ends, and season 3 is about Chris on Salvation and Checkmate, then they're trying to find Chris and whatever, and maybe you get the return of Captain Triumph in an episode or 2, and he becomes a recurring villain for Chris and whatever. That I would say makes this episode a perfectly fine season finale. I think the fact that this might be the last ever episode of Peacemaker, I think or at the very least, this would be the last we see of him for a while, and he's going to be in other stuff before you come back for the 3rd season. It's your Mandalorian problem, right? I mean, for those those people who didn't see the Book of Boba Fett, you finish season 2 of Mandalorian, you're like, oh, bye to the little groglet, that's going to be sad. Oh, wow, I wonder what adventures Din's going to get up to in season 3, and I wonder if you'll get him back, or at least go visit him, and then season 3 opens up, and you got fucking Mandalorian and Grogu flying through space at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, you just don't know what's
happening. And people
are
like, what the fuck? For me, that's the problem with this, I would say. If this was what's going to happen to Peacemaker? Find out next season. That's perfectly fine. That is more than fine. For me, the problem comes the fact that you're wrapping up this show, and don't get me wrong, I think so much of this was wrapped up beautifully. They wrapped up the Earth X thing with the promise of not the promise, but the prospect of more. I think they wrapped up the Harcourt and Chris thing beautifully. I know you're not a big fan of Harcourt and Chris, or just Harcourt as a character. I've really enjoyed that.
I liked her more in season 1.
Fair enough. But I've really enjoyed that journey from developing from season 1, Chris being I really want to fuck you, to season 2, in between seasons, and throughout season 1, and then in between seasons, it's I want to date you, I want to be your boyfriend. That's quite a nice. I've really liked that dynamic. They've wrapped up the whole, Adebayo's agency thing, which, by the way, I called in the last podcast. I was like, they're gonna make the 11th Street Kids like a formal thing, and they did, but they did Checkmate instead. I think, a lot was wrapped up really nicely. For me, it was that sort of like. It was that like very little bit at the end that I just thought, really? This is how you're going to end this show? Interesting. And don't get me wrong, like this season was nowhere near as tight as the last season, and this finale didn't have the same sort of feeling as the last finale, but they're very different seasons of television, I think. So although I still consider season 1 peak, I've still really enjoyed this season. I just don't think it was as tight, and I don't think it was. I don't think it did a good job of ending the show. And I won't be surprised if the secret TV show that James Gunn was talking about and him teasing where we're going to see Checkmate again very soon ends up being a Checkmate TV show, and it's kind of like a
pseudo sequel,
Peacemaker 2.5 pseudo sequel situation. I guess considering he's in Salvation, it will be Peacemaker without Peacemaker, which could be fun and interesting. And it was for a lot of this season, with any of the scenes with any of the other 11th Street Kids or Argus or anything like that, was what this season was. It was Peacemaker without Peacemaker. He didn't really do a lot of hanging out or mingling with
he didn't
wear
the suit much either. I'm pretty sure he didn't wear it past the second episode. He had like the alternate one, and that's something I missed because I thought that was one of the best parts of the show, and he negated it instead. For not a bad thing, but I don't like the direction they took the character stuff for some of them. Like, I can't say like it sounds bad if I say like, oh, they replaced the action for character stuff, but they replaced it for character stuff that I didn't like from the direction that they took it. Like, you were saying before, you liked how the relationship between Harcourt and Peacemaker evolved. I am like the opposite. I think that he should have been like, instead of having fucking puppy eyes for her and shit, he should have realized that they can't be together. And he had to, I think it would have been a more natural development from the end of the first season where, they do have to just stay friends because they can't be together. And however they write that or whatever, obviously they'd have to do it differently. I don't know how that would go, but I think that for me, that was how I thought like the natural evolution could have worked. Just getting together in the last episode, like nothing happened.
See, I don't think that's true necessarily. I think the reason that you're saying that they can't be together is because they don't think they can be together because they're these very hurt, lonely people, and they think that it's that it's not for them. I think And I'm doing an awful job of explaining this. I just had it far better in my head before I started speaking. But it was like, it's like these two lost souls coming together and finding that trust and finding someone that they can, because they are such lonely people, Chris has not got hasn't had a tight relationship with his dad. His brother died when he was a kid. No one seems to fucking like him. And all of a sudden in season 1, he finds these friends and he finds this girl that he fancies and he likes her. And then it's like she's in a very similar spot where she's a lonely, hurting person that doesn't think these two people should or could or can be together. But the truth is that they're kind of perfect for each other because they are in such similar places where they feel like they aren't worthy of this love. And that moment where Harcourt says that she's a fucking nightmare, and Chris is like, I don't care, I still love you. Like, that's so beautiful to me. I don't know. I don't think my mind will ever change on that necessarily. And equally, I don't think yours.
No, but I mean, I agree. Like, I understand.
Will do the opposite.
Yeah, I understand what you're
Um,
saying, but I don't like it because I think that the first season, his character development going from like just being absolute like moron in the first episode, I think it would have been a lot more tragic and like bad, well not bad, like emotional for the character where he realizes that this girl he really likes, like they can't be together even though like they may be perfect for each other or whatever. I think it's more gut-wrenching for the character that they can't, and sometimes not everything has to have a happy ending.
but I think with so much unhappiness in this show and in Chris's life,
But I mean, it
these
does
are his people, you know what I mean? Like the 11th Street Kids and Harcourt, like it's like he's got this very tight group of friends, this very niche, weird fucking band of misfits that for some fucking reason like him, or I know why they like him, but he just can't fathom why they would. And then he's got this girl that he can now, and I think it's what is heartbreaking about that, and is perhaps to the merit of the ending that I didn't like, is that as soon as he gets that, and as soon as he gets with her, and as soon as he has this moment, all of a
yoinked.
sudden he gets yoinked and he gets ripped from that, and equally from her perspective, he gets ripped from her. And this is why I think we need a season 3 that follows this, as opposed to check out what happens in Man of Tomorrow, Lantern, Supergirl, fucking Clayface, and Paradise Lost. I think it'd be nice to see a season 3 where you deal with that, where it's like, the world is trying to make perhaps, and Argus and whatever are trying to make the 11th Street Kids and Harcourt think, well, Chris just got cold feet and he ran away, and he always does, and it's like, no, we fucking know that something's happened to him. And then, you're dealing with that, whatever. But now I'm going down a rabbit hole of what could be that isn't going to be. But still, it's I don't know. I quite like their the relationship. I will say that we on something you said quite a while ago in terms of like the needle drops in this episode. It was perhaps not one too many in terms of the needle drops, but more in terms of how they were handled. I think you could have kept the live music to just Nelson, because obviously that was a part of the narrative, was they went to this rock
The
boat and
boat, yeah.
Nelson were playing. That's fine. I don't think you could have kept the oh Lord needle drop. That worked really well.
You don't
I
have to
don't
have the
think you
band there.
needed. Yeah, I don't think you needed that.
Like I after the episode, I can't remember if I watched it while you were here, while we were talking about it, but I watched the end of the first season, and they had like a similar moment with a needle drop, and it was just so much better. Like, could you imagine that? But they're at a concert with the band there for some reason. It'd just be awful.
Yeah,
and it was so better. It was better because that like montage little bit wrapped up, like it was like the final bow on the top of the season, And this time they just used it to like make their next TV show instead.
Well, the first one, the do you want to taste it needle drop, was when they were going to fight the butterflies.
Yeah, the bugs. The bugs.
The buggerflies.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and
so
then,
perhaps
and they have the one at the end as well, like right at the end.
Apologize, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is it apologize?
That one was like that one was insanely good.
So good, man, bro.
And
that song still makes me in my feels.
It was
not
really
because of it's
song.
a great song, which it is, but because of the way it was handled in that episode. Yeah, season 1 is incredible. Yes, I feel like we're missing a lot of things to talk about. Obviously the salvation thing.
Great. Lovely.
Yeah. Interesting, I would say. That like James is taking the concept of salvation and probably is gonna, adapt it in his own way. I'd be interested to see how this plays into the wider narrative of chapter 1. I mean, obviously you're gonna have this like it's this is a very anti-meta-human stance, and I would imagine that the meta-humans of the world are gonna not take so kindly to that. So I think that's going to be something that's very overarching in this chapter. As to how it plays into Man of Tomorrow, I haven't got a Scooby.
Me neither.
Like I know that he teased that the QUC was made by, a very intelligent, otherworldly,
It's like
non-human being.
Weasel's dead or whatever.
So maybe he's teasing like Brainiac will appear in Man of Tomorrow because of all the use of the QUC, or because he stumbles upon whatever, and maybe these like doors are to like the little worlds he's captured. I don't know. But yeah, I really don't see how this leads to him and Lex teaming up together unless Rick Flag backstabs Lex Luthor, considering his mind to be that of the metahuman nature, and puts him in Salvation, and then puts Superman in Salvation, or Superman goes in to rescue people, and then you have a little team up there. But yeah, I don't know where this goes from here. I know this is like something that's gonna, he said it's gonna even very slightly, be touched on in that of Lanterns and what have you, and all the, more or less, or most of the, Creature Commandos season 2, other projects in the DCU. But yeah, I was not expecting this episode in general to take the direction it did, and I was certainly not expecting Salvation to be the big tease.
I don't think anyone was.
No, this really random sort of limited series from like I don't even know when. I did like an impulse buy after the episode, and I still haven't read it on Audible. Not Audible. What's it called? Kindle. Yeah, I bought like the whole fucking run. I don't really want to read it. I could have just done a wiki. I could just gone on Wiki and read a summary. I don't know why I spent like fucking, I don't even want to think how much on this run when I have no money. But I was like, it's like for research in that. Is it fuck? But yeah, very unexpected direction for this episode to take. They're clearly building up Rick Flag Sr. to be this the big cheese of the DCU, or at least for this chapter, which is interesting. I mean, his character's definitely changed quite a bit over the last year of seeing him. Yeah, quite a left field turn as well. Like considering he worked with metahumans in Creature Commandos. And he seemed to be pretty chill with like the likes of Superman in Superman, and he actually said no to Lex's Planet Watch, but yet he's good with Salvation. I don't really know where that comes from, but
yeah, I don't know. I think Rick Flag was, like I said earlier, the Argus stuff just didn't interest me that much. It felt like it was meandering a lot.
Argus stuff did meander quite a lot. I'm very glad we got into the whole Rick Flag Senior versus Peacemaker "You Killed My Son" shit, because like that's been something that's been very important to Peacemaker's character right from season 1, right from fucking Suicide Squad. Really, like you can see the regret in his face as soon as he kills him. But I think, like you say, it meandered perhaps a little too much. I think a lot of the season did a little bit too, just a touch too much meandering, and had quite short episodes. So kind of a lot of them felt a little bit like nothing burgers.
Yeah, it was like
and
fluff.
Could have been condensed into a few, like condense a few episodes is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. And then make better episodes with the spare episodes that they had the room for after that.
Yeah. Again, I don't hate the season. I really enjoyed the season, but I've rewatched season 1 like I want to say like 5 or 6 times now.
It's very easy to watch the first season.
It's such a nice watch.
There's no like baggage. There's nothing. It's just a good season.
No, like I showed my housemate. I was like, "You've got to fucking watch this." So I showed him season 1 last year, and we did a watch through. I don't, even though season 2 is out on like Prime to buy, I don't have the same drive to be like, dude, you gotta fucking see season 2, man. We've got to watch season 2. Like, I've got to rewatch it. I don't have the same drive. I still love it. I really do. I think it, it's done some great stuff and has some of my favorite moments in the whole show, the whole series. But it's just not as tight for me.
To me, it felt like it would start going somewhat interesting, and then it would pull it back, and then they'd start doing it again. They'd start getting an interest direction, and they'd stop again. There's like this GIF of like a truck, and it's about to hit something, and then the GIF ends, and it goes back to the start before it hits it. That's exactly how I feel about this season. It's like it's about to get good, and then it ends, and then the good stuff doesn't come back. They don't.
Yeah,
the good stuff just doesn't happen.
I really appreciate this season for being a very season 1 was very character driven. But like, I've liked what it's done with the characters. Should we quickly mention before we wrap this up the whole cameo thing? And like, a lot of people had I think a lot of people had massive expectations for this season in terms of cameos and setups and whatevers and appearances and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't for lack of James Gunn hyping it up. For me, I've had time to sit on that, and like, we had cameos. We had Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag. We had Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. We had Lex's Goons, which, like it or not, they are cameos from the wider DCU, and they are probably going to be important going forward, especially in Man of Tomorrow, which we are told is very much Lex-centric. We had the Justice Gang, or at least half of them. We had Maxwell Lord. So, we've had a decent amount of cameos. We haven't I think a lot of people were expecting a lot more purely because of James hyping up the last 3 episodes. For me, I've taken that since seeing the finale or at least since seeing the last 3 episodes, as James was hyping it up to be the best things he's ever written and the things he's loved the most that he's ever done. I think that's fine, because it doesn't have to be a big spectacle for him to love it. Like, he loves it because it's a very personal right for him. Like, he's written this and it's very personal. It's very deep. It's very, his characters that he loves and he's helped craft, played by people that he loves and people that he loves to work with. Peacemaker is kind of like his holiday. He gets to go away and he gets to enjoy this time. He's working, but he's not working because he's with the people he loves to work with, and he's doing what he loves. And a lot of these scenes and these intimate moments between these characters, like when Adebayo's talking to Chris about, you're big and you're stupid, but when I'm with you, I know I feel loved. On the Peacemaker podcast, James cries over that moment because that, for him, that was his dad. That was Peacemaker was his dad, and his relationship with him. So I'm willing to completely agree that that James wasn't lying or trying to hype things up when he said that this is the best thing he's ever done, or these 3 episodes were like some of the favorite stuff he's ever written. What I will say, though, is that I don't necessarily agree with why he might hide these 3 episodes from his publicist, from the cast, from the crew, from people who were seeing advanced screenings. I don't think there was necessarily anything in them aside from like a Lex appearance, very cool, very great scene, or the way things wrap up with with Earth X, or with Salvation being set up. Apart from those things, which are like, they're not the end of the world if like a scooper, if like Daniel RPK is like, oh, Salvation is coming, like, these aren't like completely spoilerific episodes. They're not like, it's not like the Justice League turning up in the end of season 1 where it's like, what the fuck? Like, that's a nice surprise I want to keep from people. I don't think there was anything necessarily in there that was like, I have to keep this a secret at all costs. My publicist cannot see this. The fucking screeners cannot see this. I don't think there was anything necessarily in those episodes that was any more spoilerific than the rest of the season. That's what I'll say on that.
Yeah, I don't see why they hit. Maybe you could hide episode 6, I guess, because Lex Luthor was in it, but the other ones, no. But like you said, I guess if he thinks it's the best things he's ever written, and he thought that everyone was gonna be really excited and love it all, then I guess that's props to him for being confident in his work.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah,
but yeah, I do think that a lot of what he was saying and a lot of what they were doing with like the media of this season really didn't help it, because they sounded like it was going to be fucking absolutely bananas, and then the last episode, it's like 90% like one-on-one dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue in terms of world building, season 1 does a far greater job of that. You know, with even just offhand comments like about, you know, Green Arrow existing and Batmite and Wonder Woman and the Flash and this, that, and the rest. I mean, season 1 is a feast for that kind of thing, whereas season 2 is like I've been making charts of like all the characters in the DCU that like either have appeared or mentioned or whatever, and like the ratios in terms of season 1 to season 2 are night and day. Like, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but all I'm saying is in terms of like spoilers and world building and whatever, like I'd be more worried about season 1 episodes getting out there than I would season 2.
Yeah,
But that's just me, like just looking at the stats, you know. But yeah, all in all, to wrap up my thoughts, thoroughly enjoyed the season, thoroughly enjoyed the week to week. As always, my friend, thoroughly enjoyed hopping on Discord and watching a new chapter of the DCU with you. Always a pleasure. Wasn't as strong as season 1 by for me, and I know for a lot of people, by quite a substantial amount. Not because it wasn't as good, but perhaps I just didn't enjoy it as much. I still enjoy it. I would still happily rewatch it. But for me, I don't know, maybe season 1 just has a very special quality to it, and it feels very tight. And I feel like that's what this season was lacking. It was a bit saggy. It was a bit loose in terms of the writing. But I mean, my compliments to James Gunn. You know, he's written a very deeply personal and character-driven season. He's done a very good job at it. But for me, I would have made some changes here and there that would have perhaps just made this season a little tighter and wrap up the show itself a little nicer. But yeah.
Yeah, I can't say much more else. I'm disappointed in the last episode. Like I said, if they swapped him over, like if they gave this episode half an hour and cut out some of the fluff, and instead have the big crazy season ending episode being the other plot that I liked better, I would personally like it better.
Yeah. I think what you said is in terms of like wrapping up Earth X perhaps
It was
after
quite rushed.
Argus. Like if you do wrap up Argus first in the penultimate and then wrap up Earth X, would have come to a perhaps better conclusion to it being like a TV show of its own. But in terms of world building in the DCU, I totally understand why Argus took that precedence in the finale and why that was so important. But yeah, I think the season is a good entry to the DCU, but a weaker addition to the Peacemaker series. I think still very good. Don't get me wrong. But
what would you give it out of 10? We usually
I hate doing this.
Yeah,
I hate doing this.
The episode, not the season.
Okay,
we can do both if you want. We can do both if you want.
Oh, fuck. Um, if the first season was like a 9, this was like a 7.
The episode
Like
was
it was
this
just,
the whole season.
or the whole season, I would say. Like it's just missing the mark for me. It's like a couple of points off the first season. Like it's still very good, it's still above average, but it's missing a couple of things, and therefore it's missing a couple of points for me.
You know what? I was going to say the exact same fucking thing. I said 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Still good. Still would recommend to people. But yeah, not quite as strong. If I were to do the classic Weekly Planet reviewing style of best movie ever or worst movie ever, or in this case series, I would give it the best series ever. Like, you know, it's
better good than bad. Like,
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's my feelings on this season of Peacemaker, and yeah, I think that about wraps up this episode of the podcast.
Wait, what
Quite
about
a long one.
What about the number for the episode?
Oh, the episode. That's tricky. Again, 7. It does so many good like character personal things. Fuck. 6.5, 7.
I would have said 6. So it's not
6.5. 6.5, maybe.
Yeah, I'd said 6. I think some of the other episodes were good, but
oh fuck yeah! Was it the penultimate episode? Fuck man, one of my favorite episodes of Peacemaker ever. I love that so much. But yeah, 7 out of 10 for the series. 6.5 for this episode, I would say.
Yeah, I'll go 7 and 6 for the whole series.
Oh, you go 7 for the episode, but 6 for the whole series.
Oh no, the other way around. Sorry,
other way around. Yeah. Okay.
7 for the series, 6 for this episode. Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. Well, I think that about wraps up this episode of the podcast. Quite a long one.
We've been here for ages. Flip it up.
We were gonna keep it short, but I think this will perhaps be the last long one in a while because we had to obviously put the lengthy discussion on the end of the Peacemaker finale. Next week, obviously, or next month rather, there's no episodes of anything, so it'll be just back to your regularly scheduled programming in terms of news of the month, and some quickfire news and what have you, and we'll keep it nice and simple for the next couple of months. When's the next big thing? Like from Marvel or DC or Star Wars or anything? When's the next thing?
Well, like movie or
show. When's the next thing? I don't know when the next thing is.
In a while. The next like Marvel film, I'm pretty sure, is not like until next year either. Isn't it like Wonder Man coming out? I think
Wonder Man might be next, but I think that starts in like when is that? Was that December or January?
Oh my god, I just googled it. Sorry, back to AI. Fuck AI. I hate this AI fucking overview that comes up when you use Google every time because it's wrong. The next Marvel movie is Captain America: Brave New World. No, it's not. It came out.
That's just
ages
incorrect.
Ago. All upcoming Marvel movies. Here we go. Now we're cooking. It's Spider-Man. That can't be right.
When's the it is. That's the next movie.
July.
When's the next show?
Wonder Man in 2 months.
Okay. I'll obviously we won't do weekly reviews of Wonder Man because you won't watch it, but
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. But yeah, so fuck. The next thing we'll probably both talk about on the podcast will be Spider-Man then.
Jesus, what do we even talk about?
Jesus fucking Christ, man! We've got months of slop.
We've got months of yap, and we're gonna James Gunn finale our way out of it. Don't worry.
Yeah, guys, it's gonna be the best thing you've ever seen. It's my favorite podcast I've yet to record.
20 minutes. 20 minutes of talking about fucking our favorite Lego characters.
We can keep it tight here. When's the Batman video game coming out? The Lego one.
I don't think it has a date yet.
Oh fucking hell! Never mind then. God, we have got just a void of months and months, haven't we?
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
This is like existential crisis realization in real time.
Yeah. Oh my god. You guys are getting a real insight into. We're gonna have to start making videos again.
Ugh.
Fuck. Oh my god. Yeah, because we don't have like any interesting topics to put out as separate videos. All right, cool. I better get writing then. Fuck. What have I got?
Are there any other normie TV shows coming out? TV shows coming soon. Come on, we're gonna watch the 5 million hours of Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, Stranger Things. Yeah. You have time to catch up on all that, right?
I'm 84 years old. I just finished the season finale of Stranger Things.
I've just finished watching Severance, actually, and that's fucking incredible.
So, look, what is coming out? There's a Robin Hood TV show? I didn't know that.
Robin?
Robert? We're gonna have to make Bruce and Robert reviews. Like, that's how bad we're getting.
What, just reviewing Isaiah's episodes?
Yeah.
This is the slop at the end of the podcast. Just enjoy or leave.
Sesame Street season 56. Wow. We can watch that.
We could do. You got time to catch up on 55 seasons of Sesame Street?
Season 56 is crazy.
Fucking hell. What videos have I got coming out in the works? I've got that DCU Flash video that I started writing and haven't finished yet.
Don't worry. There's Fallout Season 2 in December. We've got something, I guess.
Have you seen Season 1?
I have seen Season 1.
Oh, I haven't. Well, I'll tell you what, then I'll catch up on that. And have you played the games? Because I haven't.
I've played the 4th one.
Okay. We could review Fallout. I don't know anything about the world, but I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, we could talk about it, I guess.
We could do a cheeky little Fallout episode.
Hey, let's just remember, we started the first episode in the pandemic when there was nothing to talk about. We were making up topics ourselves. Maybe we're gonna have to get creative again and use our brains. Like, what were we talking about? Pandemic effects of the pandemic on Hollywood. SDCC cancelled. MCU delays. Rise of video on demand, and things we're doing to stay busy.
We can talk about what things we're doing. I do lots of stuff.
Fan casting Marvel characters. Venom 2 Venom 2 title reveal. Oh my god, what were we doing with our lives?
Complete slop.
What are the other ones? Spider-Man MCU future. Projects we'd love to get made. 4 Love and Thunder reveals.
Oh, we've got that Justice League roster video I wanted to do. Do you still want to do that? We could do that.
We could do that. We'll see them.
Okay.
I got some stuff coming up. Not like for the channel, but stuff.
Have you played any more Gotham Knights? People seem to like those videos for some reason. In fact, they're some of our best performing videos.
Sorry, it's like the last 2 months and the next month are like all the games I play are coming out at once, so I've been sidetracked.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to just make our own things. Like, what was this? Marvel Gamesverse projects we'd love to see get made. How did we talk about that? Let me see how long we spoke about that for.
Knowing us, probably a while.
Oh. Sorry, that was my PC, not viewers. Ignore that noise. Fan casting DC characters. 47 minutes. 7 minutes. We used to be good at this.
We used to be very good at this. We've gotten sloppy.
We have. We're actually.
How far are we into this podcast?
1 hour and 53 minutes.
Fucking hell!
All right, we'll wrap it up.
It's dark outside. I didn't even realize. What the fuck?
Wrap it up.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of this episode. Once again, we are wrapping up for the second time. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I don't even remember what we talked about. It's been that long. But I've had a fun time talking about it. Hopefully you guys have too. You definitely haven't stuck around, which is exactly why this Peacemaker section is getting re-uploaded as a separate video. And yeah, we'll see you next month for more slop and shenanigans and quickfire news, bang bang, and which we all that'll be the only thing we talk about for the next like year, because there's no movies and there's no TV shows.
No, we're just gonna have Quickfire News, the podcast.
Oh, we could record like 7 of them. We could write them in ChatGPT, record them 7 minutes apiece, and just put them out every 3 days.
Lovely.
Bro, we'd be raking it in. And someone pay me. I want a sponsorship. I need money.
Grok?
The fuck is this podcast?
Right.
Bye, guys.
Right, bye.